Thanks for watching. Don't forget like and subscribe. Leave your comment for video. Thanks.